Hi, I'm Scott St. Germain with Telos Animal Health, here today to show you how to use the Halo fogging system for whole room disinfection. These steps on how to process a room are in the back of the box, or I'm sorry, on the back of the fogger. Step one is you want to pre-clean the room. Make sure you get a really good deep clean. We want to remove the biofilm. Disinfectants don't remove biofilm, they only kill the bacteria that are free floating on the biofilm. So then next step after we clean this room, we want to prepare the room. We're going to measure the room, which soon I will have those measurements for you. You won't have to measure the room first, but that is the proper step. So we'll take a measurement. Feet by 11, so 9 by 11, and the ceilings I believe are 10 feet. So I'm going to multiply 10 times 11 times 9, and to get my cubic volume, that's 990. And then I'm going to look on the back of the fogger, and it will tell me if a room in cubic foot is 990, how long I'm going to run it for. So step one, clean the room, prepare the room. We measure, we find out how much time we're going to run it on this right here, and because we were 990, just under 1,000 cubic foot, it's going to be the minimum amount. Okay, which the minimum amount is 10 minutes. Now this room won't run for 10 minutes because it would wet out. So we're going to put a chemical indicator strip, which I will show you next. Okay, these are your chemical indicator strips, and you will place one of these in the furthest corner of the room away from the fogger, because we want when this turns purple, we will know that the room has been fully treated. And so we want it in the furthest areas away from the fogger. So in this room, I'm going to put the fogger in this corner. I'll put the chemical indicator strip with the white tab up. You can touch it, it's not a problem. A little cotton tip up. We'll place this right here in that corner. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to cover these two air conditioned vents, the return first. And I'm going to take one of these, which is going to go up in that corner, and this will extend it. And this is on a spring, so you can push it up, drive this all the way to the ground, and it'll have a spring tight so that it won't fall. So this piece here just velcros on and snaps onto here, so you can keep it on here or keep it on the cover. Either way, it doesn't matter. Just make sure you get a good fit on there. And then we're going to take the top one all the way out, tighten it here, and then go all the way up. Doesn't have to be perfectly square, but you just want to make sure you cover that whole vent. Screw this down. We're going to push up to push that spring up in there while I'll lock this off, and then I can let go, and it's going to sit there. And just be careful with the door. You can still come in and out through the door. And then the next one I'm going to put on top of the supply. I'm going to raise the top one full and then lock it off. And then I'll put this up over the supply and push it all the way down, push your spring up, and lock it down. That's simple. Okay, the next step is to make sure that your Halo fogger has enough Halo mist, which is a hydrogen peroxide and silver ion mix. The nice thing about this fogger is it's only in its class that uses such a low concentration of hydrogen peroxide that it does not require you to remove any TVs or electrical components, whereas others can cause corrosion. It is important to remove, if there's surgery lights that are in here, move them out of the way. You need 6 foot between this nozzle and where its direction is. You don't want your surgery lights in there because it can leave a gray stain, or it also can wet them if they're close, if the mist is hitting it. So you want to plug your Halo in. There's a plug in the bottom, a male plug. You plug your female end of your plug in and plug the male end into the wall. You're going to get a green light, and the timer is going to come up on the minimum time, which is 10 minutes. This is your tank level. It's going to tell you how much Halo mist is in the tank. If it's flashing red, it's empty. You'll lift this here, and you can see that there is a filtered funnel for us to pour the halo mist into. It holds 2 gallons, but we're just going to put a gallon in it for this demonstration. If you ever have to move the halo, it's important, and I'm going to, let's say move it, you have 2 wheels, you can lean it back, even with it full. You can move this around, cart it around. But if you ever have to pack it up to send it somewhere, or you're putting it in a vehicle, you want to lean this halo back. There's a spout. Can you catch that spout? There's a spout on the back to drain all of the halo mist out of the halo and into the gallon, empty gallon. And you really want to lean it back and make sure you empty it fully. If not, it can leak. If it's laid down, it can leak back out of the tank and wet the motherboard, which would need to be replaced. So you see we're at about half a tank here, but we've got 1 gallon in. So therefore, you know that we could put another gallon in to have a full tank if we wanted it. After you close this, just look around the halo. Make sure there's nothing that had leaked out after you filled it. You know, if something happened and it got dropped, or one of the connections came loose, then you would see something on the floor. Then we want to not run the halo and have us come in and look at it. All right, so we determined that this room was going to be less than 10 minutes. If this was a room that was big enough to run the unit for 15 minutes, I would just set the timer for 15 minutes, hit the start button until this starts flashing red. Once it starts flashing red, I have 30 seconds to get out of the room. Plenty of time. You want to have positioned the unit in a place where it's going to be fogging. Make sure there's no obstructions. This is fine. The pole is fine if it gets wet. I'm mostly concerned about surgical lights or something that was white that could stain. Again, because this room is smaller, we're going to set this down at a minimum of 10 minutes. I'm going to come in and be checking that. I recommend that you don't come into a room that's been fogged because it can cause irritation. It is non-toxic, but you should be wearing appropriate mask if you do. We will supply you with a digital timer that can be shorter than the 10 minutes that you can plug in line, so that if the room is less than 10 minutes, it will turn itself off. Okay, so we're going to position this. I am going to make it so it's not hitting directly on this, because again, I don't want to wet and have it drip down. So I'll make sure the fogger is not directly on the pole, but I'm not concerned about the pole getting stained. Okay, so we're back here. We're all set up. We have both of the vent covers. They're set and have got that covered. We're going to run this room for approximately about 4 minutes, and then I will check the indicators. I have another indicator in the corner here and one behind the camera. As soon as that indicator is turned, I will turn the unit off, and then we're going to let this room dwell. If you need to get in the room before that, or even after that, when you open a door, if you still smell hydrogen peroxide, you can pull these off, let the HVAC suck it out, open the door, and the room should be fine within about 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm going to hold the start button, and I'm going to hold it until it starts flashing red, and now I have 30 seconds to evacuate the room. Okay, now we're going to let this dwell. We're going to let this room dwell. You can see the purple that we're looking to achieve.